Hey guys, it's Adrienne from adriennegraves.com, and I have to just see if this is actually working. Okay, so welcome. I want to do a little exercise because so I'm a big fan of tone of voice, and I know that in writing we can lose tone of voice, we can lose eye contact, facial expressions, hand gestures, things like that. And so I think about that when I read the Bible. I think about that when I want to put things into perspective, like not knowing the tone of voice. In Scripture, I think a lot of Scripture has been, and doctrine and dogma has been passed down through certain people's interpretation of what they think the tone of voice is. Does that make sense? So anyway, today I have to read something because I really love Jesus. I love not just like, oh, I love Jesus. I don't mean it like weird and like ethereal. Like, I think he was awesome, and I think that it would have been amazing to sit with him and hear what he had to say, and also to just observe him and listen to his tone of voice and things. And like I said, okay, so we weren't there. None of us who is alive today, none of us who are alive today were there 2017-ish or however many years ago that Jesus walked this earth, right? So we don't know his tone of voice, but we can assume. So anyway, I have to read something because it reminds me of something somebody said to me a couple years ago, and I was just like, what the heck are you talking about? So, okay, this is from Luke, the book of Luke in the New Testament, chapter 9, and it says, when it came close to the time for his ascension, he gathered up his courage and steeled himself for the journey to Jerusalem. He sent messengers on ahead. They came to a Samaritan village to make arrangements for his hospitality. But when the Samaritans learned that his destination was Jerusalem, they refused hospitality. When the disciples, James and John, learned of it, they said, Master, do you want us to call a bolt of lightning down out of the sky and incinerate them? Jesus turned on them. Of course not. And they traveled on to another village. So, you guys, how ridiculous. Seriously? Do you want us to call a bolt of lightning down out of the sky and incinerate them? That's what Jesus' disciples said to him. And it says, Jesus turned on them and said, of course not. Like, I wonder what his facial expression was. Was like, of course not? Or was like, heck no, of course not, you ridiculousness. Like, what on earth are you thinking? Clearly not. No. Like, duh. That's not the answer. And the reason I'm sharing this is because a few years ago, someone I love very dearly, we were talking about the Middle East and ISIS and really hard things going on in the world, terrorism. And this person said, well, you know what I say? Just nuke them all and let God deal with it. Essentially, I looked at the person and I was like, really? Are you kidding me? Like, that, how do you weed out who sucks enough to get the actual smoting? Like, what's the tipping point for who sucks enough to be smoked? Right? And we wield this around as if we know how to maneuver the hand of the creator of the universe who loves us and made us all. So anyway, I would encourage you today, if you are a Bible reader at all, to keep in mind that we lose tone of voice, we lose eye contact, and it's actually in sitting with people and hearing one another's stories actually listening to hearts, that we create the empathy, that we create spaces for healing and bring light, the light of Christ into the world. So that's just what I want to share with you today. And I actually want to do a little bit of this Bible reading out loud for you guys to hear potential different tones of voice and voice inflection. So that's it. Thanks.